Hey guys, Crystal Thompson here for Makers Gonna Learn. Today we are creating the easiest birthday card ever using your Cricut. We're gonna begin with the Makers Gonna Learn site. We're gonna click birthdays and we are gonna download two files. We're gonna download that happy birthday beautiful script, and then we are gonna search cake. What this is gonna bring up is gonna bring all the different cut files that have to do with a cake. So you have cake stands, and for this we're gonna be using the cupcake. We're going to download it, and this is actually a cut file, so it's going to make it super easy. We're going to come in and grab a new Cricut design space, and we are going to upload our images. So we're going to click upload, we're going to browse, and I actually have everything on my download folder, and I haven't extracted it. What I like to do is right click and then click open, and then you can see both the cut file and the PNG file if included. I'm going to insert the cupcake, and then I'm going to upload the cut file for the happy birthday. So again, back to downloads. We're going to open that folder. If you're using a Mac, it's going to look a little bit different for you, but essentially it's the same thing. So just be sure to upload all the images back onto that design space, and then we are ready to roll. So we are going to begin by creating our card base. So we are going to start with a rectangle. We're going to unlock it, which is going to allow us to change out the size. And then we're going to do 5¼ by 4½, and this is your basic A2 size, and you can buy envelopes ready to go if you have this 5½ by 4¼ I am going to remove about 1/4 inch on this just so I can mat it over something else. I'm going to bring in my cupcake cut file. I'm going to add it right onto the center, and what this is going to do, we're going to negative cut it. So what's going to happen is it's going to layer really nicely onto our background paper. So we're going to be cutting this out of pattern paper. So we're going to select both of these guys, and we are going to attach it, and that way it becomes one cut file. And so you can see all those lines. That means that's going to cut. We're going to come in and bring our happy birthday, and maybe there's an easy way to do this, but the way I did it is I'm going to separate the happy and the birthday, and this is going to allow me to really add both words onto each side, one happy on top of the cupcake and then the birthday on the other. We're going to click off to the right, and you'll see where you can detach or remove any of those shadows. And so we're going to remove the happy and we're going to leave the birthday, or vice versa. Once we removed all the elements of the birthday, it's going to leave us with happy. So then you can change the size, and the bigger you cut it, the easier it's going to be for your blade, and the less of a hang up you're going to get. And then of course less weeding out the itty bitty pieces. We're going to add the second happy birthday. We're going to resize it just a little bit, and then we're going to do the same. We're going to contour it and then remove the happy pieces, and be sure to remove all the inner parts of that happy, and it's going to leave you with the birthday. And this is a good place if you want just the solid images without the inner parts. This is the place to do it. So we're going to size that up. If you need to resize your cupcake, you can just unattach everything and resize it. I'm going to click attach, and that way it all becomes one solid image, and then you can go ahead and click make it, and you're going to see how it pops up on your mat and be ready to cut out of pattern paper. All right guys, so I have pulled my cardstock that I cut, and this is pattern paper, and it's kind of thin. However, I wanted to show you once the intricate cuts have been made how pretty that ends up. And I'm going to pair this with a piece of foil cardstock. So as you can see, this is a thicker piece of cardstock. We're going to layer this over, we're going to mat it, and then we're going to raise this with foam. So we're going to begin by trimming this cardstock. So we're going to begin by making sure that this is going to fit. And so I'm going to bring this in, and we're going to make it 5½. Let's see. Yep, 5½ is going to be the width of the card. And then for the length, I believe it's going to be 4¼ but for double checking, we are going to make sure and check it out. Let's see. There's nothing wrong with double checking, right? We measure twice, cut once, and 0 regrets. And that's what it ends up looking. So now we're going to move on to making our card base. Excuse me, our card panel. We're going to flip this around, and let me tell you about what we're going to be using. We're going to be using some foam adhesive. So this is double-sided foam, and I get this at my local craft store. And if you watched any of my other tutorials, you're going to see that I use it a lot. So we're going to trim up one more piece. And the more little pieces of foam that you add is going to create a more stable card panel, and it's going to just look a lot cleaner. So I'm going to add some of these pieces to the closeness of the die cuts, and that way it's fully lifted. So we're going to remove the backing of all this foam. And while I do that, I want to thank you so much for watching and for being part of the Maker's Gonna Learn family. And this is one of the easiest ways to make birthday cards. If you're mass producing birthday cards, this is the way to do it. All right, we're going to remove those last pieces of foam backing. Okay. And we're going to center this right over our cardstock. So I'm going to place it over. And this one makes, you know, the pattern paper that I selected made it really, really girly, and using that rose gold that is super popular right now. And you can go ahead and add the pieces to your card if you want to have that fully outlined. However, I am going to add a little bit of foam on the back of the D. The reason why is that if it gets in the envelope, it's going to get caught and then it's going to tear. So feel free to do this and protect any of those lifted little images, but you can see it's holding on by a thread, a paper thread. And so we want to be sure that this card is going to make it through the mail sorting process. You can go ahead and add embellishments or whatever it is that you like, but this is an easy, super easy way to create handmade cards with your Cricut, doing the one layer and cutting out the cut files from the Maker's Gonna Learn. All right, guys, that does it. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Crystal Thompson. Have an amazing day.